The president is back at the White House and is talking about his recent Asia trip. It comes as the growing humanitarian crisis in Myanmar gains attention from world leaders. White House correspondent Mark Irons joins us now. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Lauren. President Donald Trump says his trip to Asia showed that America's standing in the world has never been stronger. He spoke this afternoon about his 5-country Asian tour, updating the nation on what he calls a tremendous success. President Trump says the trip was historic and says the United States was treated with incredible warmth, hospitality, and most importantly, respect. Secretary Rex Tillerson stayed on and visited Myanmar. Human rights activists say about 700,000 Rohingya Muslims were forced to flee that Asian country in the wake of deadly violence. Now the U.S. wants to help end the bloodshed and hold the suspects accountable.
People told me about seeing family members killed, about watching as the military burned down houses, burned people alive, raped people and submitted people to public humiliation.
Andrea Gittleman fights for human rights through her work at the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum. She contributed to a new report just released today, formed using the personal stories of more than 200 survivors of violence in Burma, also known as Myanmar.
The report that the museum released today with Fortify Rights details crimes against humanity, ethnic cleansing, mass atrocities on a wide scale.
The report claims mounting evidence of genocide against the Rohingya, a Muslim minority group attacked by the Burmese military. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson calls for an independent investigation of the humanitarian crisis, saying the U.S. is considering sanctions against the people responsible for the violence.
We're also distressed by the fact that hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children have been forced to flee to Bangladesh.
It's created what Gittleman calls one of the fastest growing refugee crises of our time, something Pope Francis will continue to address when he visits the region later this month.
I think having a moral voice, talk about the need for community, for tolerance, to end violence, not to target people based on their religion or ethnicity, I think that would be so important for the people of Burma to hear.
The Pope leaves for his week-long trip to the region on November 26th. He'll spend the first half in Myanmar before going to Bangladesh. Lauren.
Did Secretary Tillerson reference aid coming from the U.S.?
He says the U.S. will provide an additional $47 million in humanitarian aid to the refugees, on top of the $40 million we've already spent on the crisis unfolding across Myanmar and Bangladesh.
White House correspondent Mark Irons. Thank you, Mark.